welcome to the Nasboys podcast. I'm your host, Mike, aka Mike Fob Fam 101, with my good friend and co-host Christian, aka Savage NASCAR.
What I do, Nasboys, true. NASCAR is back, and oh
Yes,
boy, what a weekend it was.
great weekend. Got delayed a little bit because of the weather, but we still got some racing in this weekend, and I am really excited to talk about it. Kicking things off with the Daytona 500. What did you think of it?
It's the Daytona 500. It's the Great American Race. Uh, I'm glad that it didn't get moved another day. Rain has affected a lot of Daytona races over the years, so I wasn't too surprised by it. But yeah, that was the Daytona 500 this year. I felt like was better than last year's race. Just me personally. I'm sure you'll have plenty of comments about that. Um, I thought that it was pretty decent. I mean, the racing was pretty solid. There's times where it was three wide. At least we saw some pit strategy and some people trying to rebound from pit road mistakes and work their way up through the field. And one of those guys was the guy that picked the win, Kyle Busch. He had a problem, a couple problems early in the race. He was able to rebound. He led laps, and I'm pretty sure he led 12 laps if I'm correct. And he seemed to be in contention all day. I know your boy Joey Logano led some laps too towards the end. At one point, I was like, man, he's really not in contention. And then that he comes out of nowhere to lead some. Same thing with Tricks. It's kind of weird. He kept going up and down the leaderboard multiple times. Some guys that was impressed with in the race, Corey LaJoy, Zane Smith, Anthony Alfredo, some of those guys they led at several points during the race, and I did not see that coming. Noah Gragson too. I mean, he led 5 laps to finish ninth, and for the 42 car, 43 car of John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones. Man, I'm so happy they got a top 10 because their team they struggled all last year, and to see them start off the season with a top 10 finish is pretty cool. And then William Byron winning. I'm not opposed to it. It's just a very controversial finish.
1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank, and away they go. That is Cindric into Chastain and up into traffic.
Did they complete that lap?
Did the leader get the white flag?
This
Caution
could be
waving.
It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
I don't know if he got it out in time. I
believe they saw the white flag.
I think it's William Byron.
I think so too.
It was a block by him, caused Chastain to move down.
Ross Chastain gets away and will come around to see the final flag of the night. We are under caution.
And what's your thoughts on that?
So going in first for my thoughts on the race, I thought it was a really good race. I definitely agree, much better than last year. I really like the changes that they made to the Super Speedway package, and I think that it really brought back the beauty of Super Speedway racing. I didn't see too many trains. I saw people trying to make moves. There was definitely a lot of shifts in the back. Joey Logano, like you mentioned, he led 45 laps. We saw a lot of the typical players, but we also saw some new players in the top half of the field. But the wrecks too, there wasn't too many wrecks, so that was pretty interesting. We saw the one on lap 6, Carson Hocevar and Harrison Burton were involved in that. Here's that. And then
Crash! 2 cars slam together, and Harrison Burton takes a wild ride through the grass and up into more traffic, gets tagged, turned around, and 5 cars are in it. Ryan Preece.
I think he missed that inside wall. Harrison Burton, big damage on the 21 car.
And Carson Hocevar, the rookie, gets taken out into that very, very wet grass in the ball field.
Obviously the big one with Joey, Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski. Man, that wreck took out a lot of really good cars in that race. If you haven't seen it, here it is.
Now Logano the outside. They can't get around.
Whoa! Keselowski gets turned by William Byron. Blaney gets caught up. Gilliland, Truex, Hamlin, and more.
All those Fords were struggling to get around Chastain. Who could get around and get that clean air track position first? That's what happened.
I mean, we saw Daniel Suarez kind of got into Bowman. Big push. I don't know why he was pushing that hard. And then Bowman got the car under control, but then proceeded to push the crap out of William Byron for some reason. And it was like, what, 15 to go, if I had to
Well,
guess?
yeah. You know, if in that situation there, you're trying to push to get ahead, and with these type of cars, you have to push to go faster. As you saw Michael McDowell, you saw what happened to him. He was up front most of the race, and all of a sudden, he had a problem. But when he wasn't in the draft, he was getting lapped left and right.
Right.
The qualifying speed for the race was 181 miles per hour. 50 years ago, it was about the same speed almost. 40 years
Right.
ago. Like, it's crazy. And they didn't even draft. So I don't know personally. Like, I think the package is okay, but I wish I could see cars go over 190 without a draft. That's
No,
just
that's
my
fair.
personal opinion.
Because I think,
But Bowen did get into Byron a little too hard, and we've seen plenty of accidents where he shouldn't push in the corner.
yeah,
Keselowski, when he got into Burton early in the race, he definitely got too far on his left quarter path.
right. Definitely. And then going into the last like 4 laps, the wreck with Austin Cindric and Ross Chastain. I was rewatching the onboard before we started recording with Christian from I think it was Christopher Bell's onboard. Austin
Yeah.
Cindric, good block to get Corey LaJoie to stop the run a little bit, but Corey LaJoie was really trigger happy. And I understand it. It's the Daytona 500. You want to win that race. He's a solid racer. He just kept hammering on the back of Cindric. Cindric couldn't take it, got loose, and then just took himself out. And Chastain, which was really unfortunate for Ross Chastain, he looked like he had a really fast car around 40 to go. It was really interesting to see him battle with Logano and the other Fords. And I feel for Ross Chastain. He was so close to winning the 500. I thought he was going to do it, and then I just was in shock when I saw him spinning with Cindric at the white flag. But going into the finish, I think he caused another wreck. I got to rewatch the finish again, but I did play it on the screen. But I see a lot of people complaining that they thought Alex Bowman won the race. No, if the yellow flag is out when William Byron is an inch ahead, what does that tell you? I think William Byron absolutely won the race. Bowman was very close, yes, and I wish that, we could have seen them race back to the line, but, William Byron still won the race fair and square. He was leading. There was no debate like there was last season, and for some reason, fans are complaining. I just don't get it. It's like absurd to me the amount of complaints I've been seeing all over the place in this race. I've never seen a Daytona 500 with this many complaints.
Well, as you know, NASCAR fans love to complain, and there people don't realize that when whoever's in the control tower switches the button to turn it to yellow, there's probably a second or two delay. Like, you have to think about that. Like, it doesn't immediately switch. And yeah, the caution was out when Byron was in the lead, but the caution lights didn't seem to go out until Bowman was ahead. So that's what a lot of people were talking about. And even I watching the race, I was like, I thought Bowman was in the lead at first. But yeah, NASCAR pulled out all the receipts, everything. It's just some people just like to complain. That's all. It is what it is. Seeing a 24 car win at Daytona 500 again is pretty nice. Jeff Gordon last won the 24 at the Daytona 500 in 2005. And he won before then too in the 500. But Byron, as we said at the end of last season, Byron should have won the championship last year, and right now he's off to a good start.
No question. And I'm seeing a lot of people talk about the amount of respect that he gets because there are a lot of fans that just feel like him and Bowman are just the two other guys. And, it's unfortunate to say, but if you're a casual fan, you're obviously going to know Kyle Larson. You're obviously going to know Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's most popular guy. Kyle Larson's a world talent. You're not going to know William Byron. If you know William Byron, good for you. but I just feel like he's not getting talked about enough. I think people are focusing more that he lucks into wins than his actual performance on the track. William Byron
Mm,
was one of the most consistent drivers last season. He
yeah,
stayed consistent. In my opinion, he dominated the year by being the most consistent driver. And it's a
yep.
clear choice that he should have been the champion, but due to NASCAR's format, he was not the champion. So to come off a championship season and then rebound it to winning the Daytona 500, absolutely impressive. I need to see more praise for William Byron this season.
Yeah. Well, Byron led the third most laps last year too. Think about that. I mean, he led a lot of laps last year. I believe he led over 1,000 or 2,000. But what do the people have to say about the race? Because personally, if I were to give it 1 out of 10, I'd give it a 6.5 or a 7.
I'm gonna have to give it a 7 myself, but a couple more drivers I would like to mention as well. John Hunter Nemechek finishing in 10th.
Yep.
AJ Allmendinger finished in 6th. One more thing to mention with Allmendinger is that I think he was the fastest car without the draft. He went about 180 miles an hour because I saw him. He had a penalty and he was by himself in the run. I could be wrong about that.
No, you're wrong. The fastest lap was, I believe,
No,
Hemrick.
without in the draft, without a
Oh,
draft.
without the draft. Well, I know with the draft, I'm pretty sure fastest one was Hemrick at 197, but I may be wrong on that. It's somewhere on the Xfinity or the colleague page. That's all. That's where I saw it. So
Yeah, I just wanted to mention because I saw Allmendinger by himself running at 180 miles an hour at one point in the race. But going into
all
the
right.
people's thoughts, 0% said great, 80% said good, 20% said message okay. Nobody said bad. I forgot to put the thoughts page, but you already heard our thoughts. Driver of the day, Kyle Busch. He did rebound from a wreck and he did rebound from a speeding penalty. So he
Yeah.
should definitely be considered for that. Joey Logano should also be considered. He was up in the front for the majority of the race, led 45 laps, like I mentioned. So I think it's between those two guys for me.
Yeah. Well, for me, one of the drivers of the day for me, I know it's kind of a surprise, but Bubba Wallace, he was like so far back. He was patient. He was able to get through a couple wrecks. Um, and
That's true.
it's tough, but I'm gonna say it's either between Kyle Busch or William Byron. Kyle Busch, I feel like he waited too long. If he had been up there early, he would have had a chance to win. Chastain, he had a great run going. He just came down, and that's what happens. You battle for the win for Daytona 500. Um, yeah. And another thing, the moment you realize John Hunter Nemechek is sixth in points is crazy. Like
Yeah.
I didn't think I would see that happening.
I
Um,
didn't think he'd run that fast in his like first official race in the Cup Series. That's insane.
yeah. Well, before we get into the Xfinity race, how about we do something a little different? We're gonna do memes a little early today. So first meme, the first meme nominee is my Tremendation. His edit of Fox Sports broadcast.
Wind down. Your chances to win an exclusive prize from the Busch race team are winding down too. Here's more from an ARCA driver.
Hey NASCAR fans, I'm Amber Balkan.
But with the July race, with Brian Priest's flip, yeah, that was pretty good. I thought that was really well edited, and it looked really realistic. I would say it was a meme, but it was like more of an edit thing. But that's totally how a Fox broadcast would go. Next one, NASCAR memes IG, Brad Keselowski watching the field crash and burn after Kyle Busch giving Kyle Busch an innocent push, and then the Keselowski being aggressive pushing later on in the slide. So those are my two, but then there's also the jet dryer memes. So goodbye football, time for the real boys to take the center stage. What do you have for your favorite meme of the week?
I don't usually pick him for memes of the week that much, but I think I got to go with that Tremendation meme. I thought that was pretty
Okay.
funny.
All right. Now, what about the Xfinity race? Because they started it at 9 o'clock on Monday. There's a lot of criticism about that. but they started late. It didn't end till like very late Monday. What did you think about that race? Because I thought it was pretty solid.
I did not get that much of a chance to see it. I saw like the ending. But Natalie Decker leading a few laps in that race. How about that? I know, you and Natalie have a little bit of a history, and the channel
No.
has a little bit of a history with Natalie. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty interesting to see. And I mean, the start time, I, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the start time because they could have done it at 11. They would have finished it in time for the cup race to actually start. I don't know why they moved it, but whatever. I think it was because it rained at like 10 a.m., which I can understand that. You have to, account for the drying time. So I guess now thinking about it, I understand why they would move it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid race.
You know, uh, with Natalie, she led 7 laps. She had stayed out during some pit stops, and that's why she led. But Jesse Love, the pollster, he's driving the number 2 car, very strong. He led 34 laps. He ended up getting involved in a wreck and finished 34th. There was a wreck early in the race that involved like guys like John Hunter Nemechek and Austin Hill, a couple other guys that went spinning down the backstretch. Have we seen that? Here it is.
Perkins, the blue car inside lane, driving that 29 full-time. There goes Jesse Love.
I was worried about that.
Third caution of the night. Nemechek involved. Allmendinger, Austin Hill.
Did not
Daniel
like the
Dye.
situation he was in. And now got Austin Hill caught up in it. I don't know if he's got any damage or
I don't think any damage for Austin Hill.
Honestly, I thought that wreck took Hill out. I didn't think he was going to be in contention after that. I picked Riley Herbst to win the race. He was up front all day. He had a chance, but just couldn't seem to pass anybody at times. He did lead 8 laps, but Ryan Ellis starting 36th and leading 11 laps and finishing 11th was pretty cool. Shane Van I almost said cheeseburger. Shane Van Gisbergen, he started 5th and he finished 12th with a beat up race car. Some other guys that I was shocked to see up front, Jordan Anderson, he led 6 laps. He had a chance there at the end. He just didn't make a block on Hill, and it kind of cost him. But yeah, the usual junior motorsports drivers were up front. And Austin Hill winning 3 in a row at Daytona, that's really impressive. Last time I remember Xfinity driver went 3 times at Daytona in a row was Dale Earnhardt. I'm not comparing him to Dale Earnhardt by any means, don't get me wrong. But I was surprised by that because I didn't pick him to win just because I hadn't seen anybody win 3 in a row at Daytona. So, yeah, that was pretty impressive. Austin Hill with the damaged race car and just the experience helped. And they wrecked a lot towards the end, too.
Right. I picked Austin Hill mainly because I felt like he was going to be a strong driver. He's always strong on the play tracks, and he works really well with RCR. And even though Jesse Love wasn't really there at the end, he still did a good job of coming up in the front. Riley Herbst looked really strong from what I did see. I saw him up front a lot, and I saw him battling toward the end. Same with Chandler Smith in the 81 car, which I got to get used to that. I'm not used to the 81 being a full-time car. I'm used to it being a part-time car. Another driver I want to mention, Parker Retzlaff, he finished in 3rd. And also with Jordan Anderson, he was supposed to have Larry McReynolds be the crew chief, but I don't know why they do this. So if you know why, you could probably tell me, but they moved Larry McReynolds to Charlotte to be in the studio.
Yes.
And not at the track. I don't get that. Why does he have to be at the studio? Why can't they just do it at the actual track?
It's a contract thing, probably. He's contracted to work certain races in the studio. And he's an analyst at the Charlotte studio, so he probably doesn't go to many of the tracks, to be honest with you, lately. Which I don't. I mean, it's his decision to do it or not, but it's just surprising to me.
It just sucks just because I like Larry McReynolds and I'd love to hear his insight from the booth more so than I would just at the studio. I don't mind hearing his insight in the studio. I just think he would be much better in the booth with Harvick and Mike Joy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe he doesn't want to travel as much. Who knows? What would you give the race a rating out of? I'm probably give it like 6.
I think I'll also have to agree with a 6. I mean, it was an all right race, pretty decent finish.
Austin Hill in front of his old teammate Sheldon Creed.
Yeah, Sheldon Creed's hungry for a win. Uh-oh.
There goes Ryan Sieg.
18, just watch 18.
That might do it.
Caution would end it.
No yellow. No yellow.
No yellow yet. Austin Hill out in front of Sheldon Creed.
Nobody's going to be able to get there yet. Here, 5 back 18, no yellow.
What an advantage on the final lap at Daytona. Sheldon Creed going to do it again. The Georgia drivers got the hat trick at the World Center of Racing. Austin Hill gets it done.
That's crazy. He has won 3 of these in a row.
Austin Hill able to win
Big
the race.
country, come on.
So just trying to pull up the thoughts, but I mean, while I do, Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed once again battling for the win there. That was pretty crazy, but I feel like Sheldon could have done a little bit better if he had more time to catch up, because apparently he slowed down because he thought the caution was going to happen right at the end because there was a big wreck, which, I mean, you can't fault him for slowing down. You didn't know if they were going to throw the yellow or not, which I was surprised they didn't throw the yellow because they've thrown yellows like that for similar incidents.
What's the last lap, too? Why would you slow down?
Right. I mean, because like I said, he probably thought they were going to throw the yellow. That's my only guess. I wouldn't slow down
lap.
personally.
You still shouldn't slow
I
down.
wouldn't slow down, but I'm just guessing he thought they were going to throw the yellow, and he just messed up with that. But second place with his new team, that's pretty good. But taking a look at what you guys have to say about the Xfinity race, 25% said good, 50% said meh, such okay, and 25% said bad. Nobody said great. Evan_Quack says Hill equals lame. Yeah, I saw a lot of people really were upset that Austin Hill won that race. I wouldn't say I'm upset that he won the race. I don't care about Austin Hill one way or another. I think he's a good driver, but it's not like I'm going to get upset if he wins the race.
Imagine getting butthurt.
Right.
It's NASCAR fans.
No driver of the day. I'll probably have to give it to Riley Herbst. Seems like he was up in the front the most.
I want to give it to Hill.
All right. And then the truck race. I did get a chance to see this race, but did you get a chance to see it?
I mean, I watched what I could. The guy that won the race led the most laps, and that's how it should be most of the time. It's his first Truck Series victory too. I'm not a huge fan of the guy, especially someone that tells someone they're going to kill them at the racetrack. Why would I pull for that guy? But regardless, it was okay. I mean, there's that big wreck on the last lap that went viral. 12 caution or 12 trucks were involved in that last lap wreck.
We'll try to work both. Oh, trouble.
And there's a crash. Caution is out. The race is over. Trucks up in the air. Nick Sanchez leading when the caution flag came out.
Kruth got hit. It seemed Kruth was very aggressive there at the end and ended up finishing third, which is pretty cool. But yeah, there was a wreck fest, 12 cautions. It's the Truck Series, man. Like, it's just lately it's been just all wrecks. Johnny Sauter, he led 24 laps. He ended up getting caught up in a wreck. If you haven't seen that, here it is.
Trying to get Beckus a push, and he's going to push it sideways.
Beckus around. Right. Into Parsons. Johnny Sauter gets a piece. And other drivers scattering to miss the accident. Caution number 9. Man. What a mess.
Yeah, man. It was not a good race, man. It's just the Truck Series has now become an iRacing lobby at super speedways. That's what I think, in my opinion. It's just wrecking left and right.
Right. I will say, first off, with Raja Karoof, I do remember I saw a meme with him and the Dynaco is all mine thing. If you haven't seen that, here it is.
It was all mine. Trouble, turn 3. Get through that, McQueen. Oh, a huge crash behind the leader.
Oh yeah,
And
that one.
and you know what? That was proven accurate. But before I do that, I got to get into some props for Johnny Sauter. Johnny Sauter came in the Nice 45. I think he's going to run like select races along with Chastain and a few other people. And I was surprised to see Johnny Sauter come back. I thought Johnny Sauter was going to be mid like he has been the last couple of races he's run. But he was not. He did a good job leading a lot of laps. He seemed up front for a lot of the race. I was not aware Nick Sanchez actually led the most laps, but congratulations to him. That's cool to see him get his first win. Brett Holmes as well. He finished fourth. He led some laps. He got taken out in that wreck with Sauter as well, but he did a nice job rebounding.
Yeah.
Spencer Boyd with his new team, Freedom Motorsports, they ended up finishing fifth. Stephen Parsons finished sixth in the 75 truck. Timmy Hill in eighth. I didn't even know that. And then Brian Dazat, he finished ninth in the 28 truck. Tyler Ankrum also finished 11th. He won stage 2. Jason White finished in 12th in the 22. Bailey Curry, I think he's running full time. He finished 13th. There were a lot of very interesting characters in the front there. I think there was another wreck on, I think it was like lap 6. Matt Crafton, Stuart Friesen was in it.
That bright yellow 88, and there goes Crafton. And we've got a crash. Gray around, the same for Sanchez.
Stuart Friesen in it.
Ty Dillon in the 25.
Dillon into the outside wall in hard contact with that Moffitt. Raja.
6 laps in, and we have our first caution of the night.
As you see Matt Mills right there, he barely avoided that. He had dropped to the back, and he barely avoided that.
But going into the finish of the race, I just figured they were going to wreck. I just saw how aggressive they were running. Karoof did a bad move going on the inside like that, wrecking that guy. But Taylor Gray flipping.
Sorry, guys.
Taylor Gray flipping was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
It looked like Tony Stewart's flip a little bit from Talladega back in 2012.
And Crafton's from a couple years ago.
That is true too. Yeah. Glad he was all right. And I'm also glad Blaney and Keselowski were okay because I heard that they took a while getting out of their cars. But yeah, truck racing is just embarrassing, I think, from the booth to the coverage to the actual product on the track. It's absolutely embarrassing.
Well, what did the people have to say about the race?
Pulling that up right now. One thing I did want to mention also with the Xfinity race, I'm just thinking about all these things that I want to mention. I did not like the commentary right at the end because they showed no enthusiasm after there's a huge wreck and Austin Hill just won. It just sounded like Adam Alexander was just like, oh, there's a crash. No, show some excitement, Adam Alexander. Come on. But truck race thoughts, 0% said great, 11% said good, 44% said mess okay, 45% said bad.
Ooh, yeah.
There are a lot of thoughts on this one. Underscore Carlos underscore says crashing every 3 or 5 minutes. Yeah. 912.sef says the amount of crashing. Yes. NASCAR Talk says couldn't stay green for more than 10 to 15 laps. Yeah, I agree. Driver of the day, Nick Sanchez. He led the most laps, so I definitely agree, but I think Johnny Sauter should also be in contention.
Yeah, it's tough. One driver I do want to say, Stephen Parsons started 27th and finished 6th. And Spencer Boyd with the new team, 31st to 5th. Pretty impressive.
A lot of great runs.
Anchor led 16 laps. As much as I don't like to do it, I'm going to say Sanchez.
All right, now talking about the Atlanta picks for this weekend. Also ARCA too, yeah. Were you about to mention that?
I was going to mention this because we talked about it last week. And, this isn't an ARCA podcast. If you want to see somebody who does good ARCA commentary, look up Colby Evans. But I'll be honest, man, like that ARCA race was a little crazy. I thought it was better than the truck race. But I had to shout out my friend Thomas, who ended up finishing second in his truck, in his ARCA
what I was about to say too.
Driving the mellow yellow colored paint scheme. Very happy for him. Gustine ended up winning, and he rubbed some fenders the wrong way. He captured the win. I know Tony Brenger wasn't too happy about that, but yeah, man. What do you think about the ARCA race? If you saw any of it?
I did not see it. I just saw the highlights, but I just wanted to give credit to Thomas. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but that was really cool to see him finish second in his actual first start in ARCA. That's absolutely crazy. Congratulations, man, if you're watching this.
All right, now Atlanta. All three series is Atlanta too. It's looking like great weather, which is great. I'm going to be there, so it's going to be fun. Hoping for some good racing. The last couple years, Atlanta has been very entertaining. Truck race. To be honest with you, I have no clue who to pick for the truck race yet. But I think that Corey Heim could probably have a good chance to win this one. He seems to have run well here the last couple of years. Same thing with I would say Tanner Gray may have a chance too, but I'm going to go with Corey Heim. Why not?
I'm gonna go with a cheap pick, and I'm gonna say Kyle Busch because he's
Yeah,
running this
fair.
race. I think he's running the 7 truck,
Yeah,
if I'm not
Spire
mistaken.
Motorsports.
Right. Which Corey Heim is a great pick though. I definitely am considering him as another pick, but I'm just gonna go with Kyle Busch to be more on the safe side.
Okay.
Xfinity race. I was originally gonna go with Sheldon Creed, but I saw that John Hunter Nemechek was in the race, and he pretty much dominated last time they raced at Atlanta when he was in the Xfinity Series full time. So I think I'm gonna go with John Hunter.
Yeah, same. That I was. You know what? I wanted to pick him, but because you picked him, I'm going to change my pick to Justin Allgaier. I wanted to pick John Hunter, and I could see him winning it, but I'm just going to go with Allgaier because why not? I already know I'm going to pick for Cup. Now that one is going to be interesting.
I know who I have too. It's I wouldn't say a dark horse anymore, but it's somebody I don't usually pick. You can, if you want to, you can go ahead first.
Oh, he's about to drop the nail. You know what? I think that it'll be a good race. I think there'll probably be a record too towards the end. But the guy that I've been thinking about to win this race, and I can see definitely happening, is Tyler Reddick in the 45. I mean, he's ran well here before, so is 23XI Racing. I just think that he's going to get the job done on Sunday.
I think this race is going to be another great race. I see a lot of close racing, and my pick for this race is Chris Buescher. I think that Chris Buescher is really good at super speedways. I think it's time I finally give him a shot, pick him. RFK runs really well at Atlanta and super speedways, so I could definitely see Chris Buescher winning.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That will close this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
See y'all.
You wanted what I think. All these women lie. Push me to the brink.